It's not every day that you can say you witnessed history being made, but that is exactly what happened when millions of gamers tuned in to the Koch primetime stream during E3 2021. Things started out okay with a sizzle reel promising 12 games, but as the presentation went on and on and on, a realization swept across the audience that they were witnessing the single worst E3 presentation of all time. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been some bad shows before, but even the worst E3 conferences at least give us some good memes. What makes Koch Primetime so special is that despite being advertised as one, it wasn't even really a E3 press conference. It was more just a series of really long and boring dev interviews, you know, the stuff IGN does to fill dead air in between the stuff people actually care about. If you watch this thing live, you can just go ahead and turn off this video. It wouldn't be right of me to force you to watch more of it, but if you didn't see it and are morbidly curious, allow me to introduce you to Koch Primetime. What is it, you ask? Well, a company named Koch bought a bunch of game studios recently. Some that you've heard of, like the Mountain Blade guys, the Payday guys, the Kingdom Come guys, and some others you've never heard of in your life. But basically, if there's a not quite AAA game that you heard about at some point, chances are pretty good that Koch now owns them. Now, I need to make this very clear right from the start. The giant American oil company Koch Industries and the digital publishing company Koch Media are not the same company. I didn't realize this until I was researching this video, and I'm sure some of you out there probably got confused too. The name Koch has a lot of baggage attached to it here in the States, but I know it's not fair to ask a foreign company to change their entire name just so dumb Americans like me are less confused. You know, America's not the center of the world, though. I did build my Lego map that way. Sorry, Asia. The weird thing is they kinda did change it because the name of the game publisher is Prime Matter, but during the presentation, they used the term Koch and Prime Matter pretty much interchangeably, which was just really confusing.
Koch.
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 No, it's Koch.
Koch.
What?
Koch.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's pronounced Koch, but I'm gonna keep saying Koch for no particular reason. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, video games. Here's what we're dealing with. This presenter lady named Opal welcomes us to the show and says that they have 12 games to show us, which is very exciting, but if you watch for like 5 seconds, you may notice something is off. Namely that there was no effort put into the production, like at all.
I do have to make it clear that some of this is pre-alpha, alpha, high-level concept.
Great job, guys. It really shows how committed you are as a company when you can't even give the poor PR lady a decent microphone. And even though Opal's audio is bad, it's nothing compared to the mics on some of these dev interviews, which makes even less sense if you think about it, because if you're a game studio, presumably everybody there is a gamer, so you're really telling me nobody in the office has a decent headset or like a streamer microphone or anything other than the freaking Logitech C920 webcam microphone? Like, come on.
We could have...
So yeah, the production value of some of these interviews was about as high as a FaceTime call with your grandma. Actually, you know what? I gotta be honest. My grandma's pretty good at FaceTime. I think she could have done better than this. Fortunately, dev interviews are only a small part of E3. What we're all really here for is the gameplay. You guys do have gameplay, right? Right?
LMAO, nope.
So, they pretty much showed nothing, but let's go through what they did show. First up, they had Geoff Keighley interview the Painkiller dev, and that one went pretty good. There was no gameplay, but at least both of them had decent microphones.
Fans, of course, want to know a little bit about, you know, what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of details about it.
Next up was The Chant, who also didn't have gameplay or trailer. They did have this guy sitting in front of the letter B, which was pretty funny, and also they had this weird cut.
Tapping into that area of expertise to just kind of expertise.
Did you know that it's generally considered good practice to watch your video back at least one time before you click the export button? Then the Kingdom Come Deliverance dev announced that they were going to port that game to the Switch, and you already know they're not showing gameplay for that one. That's going to run awful. I can't even imagine.
Final Form, which is a working title, is an action-packed sci-fi adventure where you play the role of a humanoid avatar of a sentient spaceship sent on a mission to the edge of the known universe to battle an unstoppable plague. The game is still a long ways from completion.
Next up was my personal favorite game of the show, Dolmen. Now, the thing you gotta know about Dolmen is that they didn't show any gameplay for it, which is kind of weird because back in 2019 at Gamescom, they showed 30 minutes of gameplay. Here it is. looks pretty good. So there was actual gameplay for this game that they had, but they just decided not to put it in here. I just put the game into the E3 conference. You have footage of it. King's Bounty 2 had a big old trailer, which was very appreciated after 5 hours of nothing but interviews.
A seer foretells that our savior is among us.
Don't know what the game is and don't really care. I was just happy to see some in-engine graphics. Also, stop using this blurry background zoom filter. It just looks horrible. Then finally, we got some actual gameplay for the new game Scars Above. Here it is. So that looks pretty good, but it was the only gameplay we got in this entire stupid show, so you know what? I'll take it. Good job, Scars Above. There was also a sci-fi RPG called Encased, which looked a lot like the old Fallout games. We don't know much about it, of course, but they had a trailer that showed that instead of the evil company being named Vault-Tec, it's called Cronus, like the thing from The Incredibles that Syndrome had. Not related, though, I don't think. Then we got Echoes of the End, which was mercifully close to the end of the conference. A single-player narrative-driven RPG with, yep, you guessed it, no gameplay, but I did find these 2 screenshots on Google. Then there was The Last Aura Crew, which also didn't have anything to show, so just pretend I made all the same jokes that I did for the last game. And for their big finale, they ended it with Payday 3. Not any Payday 3 gameplay, of course, just some nice cinematics of people shooting guns and, you know, Hellboy and Gus Fringer there. But don't worry, because this exclusive look at Payday 3 is gonna make it all worth it.
The release of Payday 3 is years away, but we could finish off today with a sneak peek of what we're working on, a taste of things to come.
Just an amazing picture of the people from Payday standing on top of a building, and then that was it. That was the ending of the worst E3 press conference I've ever seen in my entire life. The biggest problem with this show was that it was just a solid 2-hour block of dev interviews with like 5 minutes of gameplay from one game in the whole thing. Every dev got the same types of generic questions like, what is your game about?
Well, you know...
What were some of your biggest influences when developing the game? What about the game are you most proud of? What was your favorite part about working with a multinational global conglomerate like Koch Media? That was an actual question they asked. Like, who cares? Who cares about that? Oh my God. These interviews seem more suited to an internal company newsletter because all they were was buzzwords galore with no substance. And to be clear, I do not blame the devs or Opal herself for how bad this was. The job of a game developer is to make the game, not to spew a bunch of pre-written marketing crap into a webcam. I mean, do you really think anybody can make this sound convincing?
The partnership with Koch Media has been very fruitful and inspiring.
And poor Opal, she was doing her best. She had to pretend she was actually talking to these people, even though both parts of the interview were recorded separately, then edited together. I know, it's shocking. I couldn't even tell. It was so seamless.
Expertise.
I really hope the brain-dead executives that put this together don't blame her for it being a massive flop. And speaking of which, hey, Koch Media, if you're looking for a guy to plan your live stream next time, I'll do it. It seems like you guys got a lot of spare money to throw around, so hit me up. I guarantee I can do better than this. I'll be honest, I have no idea what Koch Media was trying to do here. They probably should have just not done this and just paid Geoff to show some of their trailers during the Game Awards instead. I'm mainly just mad that I woke up early to watch this. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this exclusive look at the Koch Media Koch Primetime Prime Matter Gaming Showcase. Tune in next year to see if they bought Opal a better microphone. You're welcome, by the way, Koch Media, that I didn't call you Cock Media for the whole video. It would have been a very easy joke to do. I could have done it, but I didn't, because I respect you. I respect Dolman.